Monica, over to you.
Sure. Thank you. Let me just start by sharing my screen. Okay. Let me know once my screen is visible to you all.
Screen is visible.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this exciting session of today. So, today I'll be walking you through some exciting real world use cases and the emerging world of agentic automation. Okay. So, hi, myself, Monica. I am an RPA developer and a proud member of the UiPath community. I am passionate about automation and love solving problems using RPA and AI. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn by scanning the QR code on this slide. Okay, so moving forward, agenda. So here's a quick look at what we will be covering today. So first, we will begin with a simple analogy to understand automation at different levels. Then we'll explore what agentic automation actually is. Then afterwards, we'll dive into what agenda agents are and how they are different from traditional automation bots. Then after that, we'll look at some real world use cases. And finally, we will wrap up this session with a short quiz and a Q&A. Okay, so moving forward, let's start simple. So let's kick things off with a very relatable example, doing laundry. Yes, doing laundry. It's a perfect way to understand how automations have evolved. So imagine you have a big pile of dirty clothes. Okay, so now you're doing everything by hand. You fill the bucket with water, add detergent, scrub each item individually, then you rinse about, then wring the water out by hands, and then finally hang them to dry. So now think about it. Every single step is entirely up to you. You decide when to start, how much detergent to use, how long to scrub, and if you skip it or forget it. So, well, the laundry just doesn't get done, right? So there is no system helping you, no shortcuts. Everything relies on your time, energy, and decisions. So this is exactly what no automation looks like. In technical terms, we call this zero automation. So nothing is automated, and if you don't take actions, nothing happens, right? So in the world of automation, this is our baseline. Everything is manual. Every task is done by human from start to finish. So if we compare this with the workplace scenarios, it's like doing all your tasks without any digital help, like no macros, no bots, no AI, nothing assisting you, right? It's the most it's the most effort intensive and time consuming way to get things done. And that's where the journey of automation begins. So moving from fully manually towards smarter, more efficient system. Okay. So moving to the next slide, washing machine with timers. So let's move one step forward, okay, towards basic automation. Imagine you have upgraded to a washing machine that has a timer and preset modes, right? So here how it works. You load your clothes into a machine, pour in the detergent, choose the right washing mode like cotton or quick wash, and then hit the start button. From that point on, the machine takes over. It washes, rinses, spins, and stops. All automatically. Sounds great, right? But there is a catch. If you forget to add detergent or overload the drum, the machine won't realize it. It is just follows the instruction you gave blindly. So it doesn't stop and think, hey, this seems off, right? No, it simply performs the step it was programmed to do in the same way every single time. So this is where we introduce RPA, that is robotic process automation. This washing machine with a timer is a perfect example for RPA, right? It's great for repetitive tasks that follows a fixed pattern like washing and spinning clothes. But just like the washing machine, RPA doesn't think or make decisions. It can adapt to changes or respond if something unexpected happens, right? So in an office or business scenarios, this is like using a bot that logs into a system, extract data, paste it into a report, and emails it, but only exactly as programmed. If something changes in the system layout, the bot fails. This is the limitation of traditional RPA. It is useful but not flexible. So now what to do? So here comes the third thing, that is a smart washing machine. right? So now let's take a big leap forward from simple automation to intelligent automation. Now imagine you now have a smart washing machine. Okay, not just one that runs on a timer, but one that actually thinks, plan, and adapt. So here's how it works. As soon as you load the clothes, it senses the type of fabric, the weight, and even how dirty the clothes are. So based on that, it automatically chooses the best wash cycle for those clothes. So it also calculates and dispenses the right amount of detergent, warns you if you are overloading the machine, and even adjusts setting if there is a water shortage. So once the wash is done, it notifies you all on its own, right? So what's important here is that the smart washer doesn't just follow steps. It perceives, plans, and acts. How? It perceives the environment, checking the fabric, weight, and dirt level. Then it plans, chooses the most suitable wash cycle for the particular cloth item, right? Cloth type. And then it acts accordingly, running the wash, adjusting to real time changes, and finishing the job, all without being told what to do at every step, right? So, in the automation world, this is what we call agentic AI. The system understands its goal, that is, cleaning the clothes, take all the necessary steps intelligently to achieve that without requiring constant human inputs. So instead of just following fixed instructions like a traditional RPA bot, this type of automation can make decisions, adjust based on feedbacks, and then it works independently. This is the future of automation, and it goes far beyond just rules and routines. It is adaptive, responsive, and it is goal oriented. Now, moving forward, what is agentic automation? So now that we have seen how smart automation works using washing machine analogy, right? So let's define it formally. This is called agentic automation, the next generation of automation technology. So in agentic automation, we are not just programming the bots to follow step-by-step instructions. We are giving AI-powered agents the ability to do something more, something that mimic human problem-solving skills. The agents can think, meaning they can understand a goal, reason through how to achieve it, and they can also plan. They can figure out the best course of action. Then they can act accordingly. They can perform tasks across different systems and tools, and at the end, learn. They also adapt based on the outcomes and improves over time, right? So this is what separates agentic automation from traditional RPA. So while RPA works best with static, repetitive tasks using fixed rules, whereas agentic systems are dynamic. They can handle complex, unpredictable situations that require flexibility and adaptation. And the best part, it's not about replacing humans, it's about combining the power of humans who bring critical thinking and oversight, robots that handles repetitive execution, and AI agents that bring intelligence, autonomy, and adaptability. So this diagram that you are seeing on the right side of the slide is typical cycle of how an agentic AI agents behave inside the agentic automation system. So let me walk you through each part individually. So the first one is develop an action plan. At the top, the agent first understands the situation and creates a plan to move towards the goal. After that, it triggers automation. It then triggers the right automation or workflows across tools, much like how smart washer selectors selects the right cycle, right? Which according to the close type, it was selecting the wash cycle. So it is similar to that. Then escalate when required to human. If the agent hits something it can't resolve or that needs judgment, it knows how to escalate it to the humans. Self learn and self heal. Finally, after completing the cycle, the agent learns from the outcomes, right? It improves itself and can adjust if the same issue happens again. So whenever an agent encounters an error that it is not able to resolve, so it involves human in the process, right? So what humans do is basically they resolve the problem, and the agents, as I have mentioned earlier, they are also continuously learning. So they learn from that particular human action, that in future, if a certain error like this and occurred, so how we have to resolve that. And in the next run, if the same error occur, it will not intervene human in between. It will act accordingly as per the past scenario handled by the humans. Okay, so moving to the next one, introduction to agents. Now, let's now take a moment to understand what agents really are. Agents are not just bots that follows the rules. They are the next generation of automation, right? Smarter, more flexible, and more independent. So traditional bots need clear, fixed instruction. But in real life world, as we all know, things don't always follow the same path. Sometimes the data is different, system behaves independently, unexpectedly, or the task has variations. So agents are built for the non-deterministic or dynamic use cases, which means that they can handle situations where the outcome isn't always predictable. So we don't know, like it has to act up as and when that particular scenario occurs. So agents are built to handle certain such scenarios, right? So they use advanced technologies like LLMs. What are LLMs? Large language models, which allow them to think through the problem, plan the best course of action for that problem, take action across tools or platform, and if needed, intervene a human to resolve the issue or to look into the issue and learn from the results over time, right? So just like how we as humans figure out how to respond to a new or unclear situations, agents can do that too in their own way. So agents are not meant to replace the robots. They are meant to work together. So robots are great at following step-by-step tasks quickly, and agents are great at deciding what steps to take, especially when things aren't clear or the instructions have not been clear, right? For example, a robot, it can extract the data from a system, whereas an agent, it can decide what data to extract, when to do it, and what to do next, even if the situation changes, right? So this combination helps the businesses solve complex problems from start to finish, which we call end-to-end automation. So now agents, they can handle tasks that are far too complex or flexible for regular bots. They bring intelligence and decision making into automation, which is essential for modern large scale businesses. So basically, to sum it up, I would say agents are like smart co-workers for your bots. They bring reasoning, adaptability, and learning into automation. And they are a huge part of what make agentic automation so powerful. I hope it's clear. Now, moving to the next one, agentic automation capability. So now we have seen like what agentic automation is and what is the role of agent in it. Now we will cover like what is the agentic automation, what are the agentic automation capabilities. So when we use agentic automation, these agents are extremely helpful in building a complex workflows. Complex workflows often involve many variations in the way processes are set up. There is this is where agents, they can adapt easily to those variations. For example, let's say one vendor might send an invoice, right, in a particular format, while five other vendors may have their own unique formats. Some may send invoices via the email, while the others use some system-based integration. So these are different variations of a single process that must be handled differently. Now, agents excel in such scenarios because they can adapt to these complexities, unlike the traditional bots that are the RPA bots, which follows a strict rule-based instruction. Agents can make autonomous decision, right? So with robots, you typically define a set of rules or tasks, and when they execute them exactly as instructed, okay. And in contrast, agents, they can be given a broader plan and a small decision independently, right? So for example, if certain prompts or conditions are met, the agents can take action on its own, right? Moreover, these agents, they can actively involve human when needed, right? So it's not that a process is like it will execute the process in a wrongly manner. Whenever there is a doubt or something that the agent are also not able to resolve or able to understand, this is where the agents are involving human in between, right? So this is where the escalation plans come into play, right? So we have seen that agents, they can send action items to a human through action center for reviewing or intervention. So this makes the automation process more flexible and collaborative, right? So why? Because we have robots in action, agents in action, and also when required, humans are also there in the process. So another example is that the agents, they are capable of self-learning and self-healing, as I mentioned before, right? As human interact with them and provide inputs or feedbacks, the agents, they can continuously improve their performances. So this collaboration between humans and agents enables a dynamic, evolving system. Now, finally, agentic automation scale AI effectively. Okay, so agents are not limited to their built-in tools. They can also integrate with other AI tools and technologies. This extensibility improves responsiveness, timing, and competitiveness, allowing you to tailor solutions to your specific business processes. So these are all the capabilities that we have in agentic automation via the agents while involving the agents, right? So moving forward, now let's move to the use cases of agentic automation. So the first one is the talent acquisition and recruitment. Okay, so let's look at how agentic automation, it can help with one of the most time consuming areas in any organization, which is recruitment, right? So recruiters today, they spend a lot of time. So basically what is happening is that the recruiters, they have a lot of resumes, right? So to filter those resumes and to select the right candidates, it takes a lot of time. So they are spending a lot of time doing manual tasks like reading through resumes, shortlisting candidates, and conducting basic screenings. So, and this is not only slow, but it's also inconsistent because depends on who is doing it. Sometimes it is biased, although it is unintentionally, but it is, right? And it leads to delays and wrong hires sometimes. So it's not that humans aren't good at recruiting, but doing all these manual tasks takes a lot of time and effort. So it is consuming their lot of time, and things can easily fall through the cracks. So to rectify, to resolve this issue, we have a use case where now let's take a closer look at the flow chart on the slide, right? Which allows the agentic automation work in a real recruitment process from start to finish. Okay. So it all begins with resume collection, right? So basically, as you can see, so a robot pulls the resume from the job portals or internal databases. For example, LinkedIn, Naukri, or your company career site, right? And then agents come into picture. They steps in to scan and filter the resumes using predefined rules like required skills, education, or job location. So, which saves the recruiter a lot of time by automatically removing unqualified profiles, right? Now, next, the agent analyze the filtered resume in more detail. How? It uses the job description and the candidate's background to understand the role, match expectations, and even generate some custom interview questions based on each candidate's experience. So now the interviewer, it gets a tailored question set ready to go. So the agent have done its work, and according to the person or the in candidate's profile or the, I would say, resume, it have prepared a certain set of questions that the recruiter can ask. So it has saved the time, right? So the interview is still conducted by the human, but the agents help behind the scenes. Now, how it helps? It basically writes the interviewer talk to the candidate. So why, sorry, like why, well, why the interviewer is taking the interview of the candidate, talks to the candidate, the agents, it records and transcribe the conversation in real life time. It highlights the important points like the tone and the responses, key points. So this removes the need to take the notes and let the interviewer focus on the conversation. So we often feel that as a interviewer, we have to ask questions, listen, focus on the conversation and what the candidate is answering, what is the tone and what the response and the key points, whether the person have included the key points or not. So now we don't have to worry about this. The agent is taking care of that for us. So it is taking the notes, right? And we just have to focus on the conversation and get to know like the person it knows or what the person knows and what it doesn't know, right? And then after the interview, the agent evaluates the candidate. It uses preset criteria like communication skills, technical skills, etc. Then plus it transcribes their behavior data. So to assign a score and give a recommendation. So this ensures that the candidate is judged fairly and consistently, right? So the agent that then creates a detailed evaluation report for the candidate, summarizing the candidate's performance, key observations, and the final score or recommendation. So these reports are ready to review by the hiring team, right? So finally, humans step in again. So the first step where the humans were intervened was while taking the interview. And now the second step is just at the final stage. So the recruiter or the manager, it reviews the report created by the agents and then they make the final hiring decisions with more confidence. And since all this screening and scoring work has already been done, so this has saved the recruiter's time a lot. Okay, so this is the whole flow from resume collecting to hiring. Becomes faster, smarter, and fairer. The robots handle the repetitive tasks, the agents add the intelligence, and human make the final call, whether to hire the candidate or not. And this is a great example of how agentic automation supports human decision making without replacing it, right? So I hope it's clear. Now, moving to the second use case, which is IT operations. Okay, so sorry. Yeah, IT team is in any company, it have a very tough job, right? So they are responsible for keeping the system running smoothly, fixing bugs, and making sure that there is no downtime, right? So, but they face some serious challenges. And what are these? Those are that they spend a lot of time monitoring the log files, tracking issues manually. Then second, when something goes wrong, it takes time to identify what the error is and find a solution, right? And the third is sometimes that errors go unnoticed until it's too late. So leading to the downtime or the system crashes. So to resolve these, and the last issue that the IT faces is that even while creating the tickets and reporting issues, it is a manual, time-consuming task, right? So all of this means that the IT team is often stuck in, reactive mode. So fixing problems instead of working on improvements or innovations. So let's now go through the IT operation process step by step using the flowchart as shown in the slide. So if you just go through the flowchart, the process begins with the robot that continuously pulls the log files from the application server, right? And these log files, it contains system activity, errors, and other technical events. And now, then the agent is also reviewing the logs and instruct the robot on what to pull based on the pattern it is noticing, like the errors or the performance drops. So instead of waiting for something to go wrong, the agent is actively looking for early signs of problem, right? So just to avoid the system crash. So once the log is collected, the agent analyzes them. So it detects critical issues, identifies error patterns, interprets what might be going wrong. So this step, it is like the agent is playing the role of an IT expert. It's not just reading the logs, It is understanding them and the issues that are occurring. Okay, so after spotting an issue, the agent reaches for the possible solution. Now, how? It looks through the internal documentation or the online knowledge bases, like just as we humans would go and Google the error code, right? So the agent also do the same. And also the robot is helping by gathering links and documents that are already been there, present there. So the result, a possible solution is defined, identified. Without waiting for an engineer to investigate manually, we have find the solution. The agent have find the solution to the problem. So once the issue and the potential fixes are ready, what robot do is it automatically creates the ticket in the IT help desk. The agents populate the ticket with so the ticket will be involving the analysis of the issues, log data, fixed recommendations, and the alert the IT team. So this means that the IT team gets a complete ready to act ticket, not just a vague error notification, but the agents have prepared a report for the IT person that this is the error that we are encountering at this particular time, and this is the possible resolution for this. Please have a look and then move forward. So this has helped the IT person save its time and to be more productive, right? So a human IT staff member now steps in. They review the tickets, check the agent's suggestion, and either approve or adjust the solution. So sometimes what happens is that the solution that the agent have identified is not up to the mark or needs some corrections, right? So that is why agents are also sending the reports to the human. So they are reviewing it, and if there is anything that needs to be changed or corrected, the human is doing that for us, right? And once resolved, as I mentioned earlier, the agents are continuously learning as well from their feedback. So they learn from the human feedback, improving its future decisions. So how it is improving the future decision? The agent have learned that for this particular error, the human have done this. So it have analyzed this. So in future, if the same problem encountered by the agent or the bot, the agent will give the same solution. So it has learned from the human feedback, right? So this creates a learning loop for the agents, where agents become smarter over the period of time by observing how humans solve the problem, right? So with this setup, with this particular use case, the agents act like a small smart assistant to IT teams. They are working 24/7 behind the scenes, right? And it helps spot issues early, provide possible solutions, and even create detailed tickets, which is saving their time, reducing downtime, and also improving the overall reliability of the system. So this is a perfect example of how agents don't replace human, but support and empower them to focus on higher value work, right? So moving to the next use case, which is handling public complaints. So this is also a very useful use case. So let's imagine we are talking about a government office, okay, a municipal department or even university admin team that receive public complaints like noise issues, broken infrastructure, delays, or service problems, right? So here what's usually happen? What usually happen is that the complaints come in through multiple channels. It can be via email, online forms, phone calls, or even sometimes handwritten notes, right? Then someone has to manually read each and every complaint and categorize them accordingly. And then the staff that needs to check the policies, look at the past records, maybe do a basic investigation, like whether this problem has been encountered in the past or not, if there any resolution that has been taken in the past or not, or whether it is just a problem that has encountered recently. So all these investigations, basic investigation needs to be done before taking any action on the problem, complaints. And then afterwards, they need to write a reply informing the citizen that about the updates, about the update of their complaints, what course of action have been taken by them, and also update the internal system, right? So whenever they are resolving a complaint, they need to also update the system. So as you can imagine, this process, it is very time consuming, it is repetitive as well, and often delayed which leads to the frustration and loss of public trust, because the person who has complained will think that the particular organization or the government office person, the person responsible for handling the complaint, is not taking the right course of action. But in reality, we know it's a very time consuming process. They have to do certain prerequisite steps before taking any action on the complaints, right? So let's now look at this diagram, this flow chart that we have in the slide, which explains how agentic automation works step by step to manage the public complaint effectively and intelligently. The process, it starts with the robot. It collects the complaint from all the sources like emails, website, phone calls, or forms, right? And then it categorizes each complaint. For example, noise issues, infrastructure damage, delays, poor services. Accordingly, it just basically uh, segregate each complaint accordingly. Then the robot also send an instant acknowledgement to the person who have submitted the complaint, confirming that it has been received by us and we will take the required course of action on this. So this steps saves human effort and make the process faster and more responsive, right? So next, the agents come into picture. It steps in to investigate the complaint. It analyzes the case data, checks relevant policies, gather supporting information, right? Think of this as an agent doing the detective work. Okay, so understand what happened and what rules needs to be applied. So once that is done, if the complaint has been raised before or it has been reopened, the agent summarizes the history of that particular case. It highlights what actions were taken earlier, if it has been encountered earlier, like what actions were taken earlier, what has changed over the course of time, what still needs to be done to resolve this complaint. And this helps in making quicker, more accurate decision by not starting from scratch every time, but continuing from the previous time we have encountered this issue. So the agents now present a summary to the human decision maker. This includes key findings, risk flags, and then suggested course of action. So then a human intervenes. The agent's recommendation reviews, human intervenes, it reviews the recommendations that have been made by the agent and make the final decision whether to accept it, reject it, or escalate the complaint, right? So this step ensures that human oversight while the agent does all the background work. So hence saving the person's time, human's time. And once the decision is made, the robot takes over again. So it sends resolution updates to the complaint, to the person who have registered the complaint, update internal case records, then logs the outcome for compliance and future tracking also, right? So they have to update their internal system. So this ensures that everything is neatly recorded and the person who has complained, filed the complaint, gets a proper resolution, get a proper response to the complaint, right? So this entire process, it is a perfect example of human agents and robots working together, right? So the robot, it handles the repetitive tasks like sending emails, uh, collecting the complaints, categorizing them. So it's like a basic repetitive task. So the robot is doing that. The agent brings the intelligent and the context, right? So it is looking for the particular complaint, if it has been encountered in the past or not, if it has, like what course of action were taken, what has changed, and what needs to be done again, prepare the report. So all these actions are done by the agents, right? And now the humans, it makes the final call when needed, like whether we have to escalate this particular complaint, whether it is a crucial one that needs escalation, or is it something that we can take a look at it a little while ago. So this is how the both all three, humans, agents, and robots, work together. So the result, it is a faster resolution, better accountability, and a bigger boost to the public trust. Okay. Okay. So with this, I am done with all the three use cases that are there for the agentic automation. Although there are a lot more use cases that are present, but I just explained these three for this presentation. So now let's put your understanding to the test with a quick quiz. So I'll read out a scenario and you'll tell me if it fits under RPA or agentic automation in the chat, right? Okay. Just give me a moment. Yeah. Okay. So no worries. So all the person who have joined late, they can just go through the problems. I'll also explain the solutions along with the answer. So it will be a better understanding for you, right? So the first one. Okay. You're building an assistant that reviews scholarship applications, analyzes the essays for clarity and intent, checks eligibility, and rank candidates based on merit. So, will it be an RP automation or an agentic automation? Okay. A lot of people are saying agentic. We have an RP also. Okay. Both. Okay. Okay. So, all those who are saying both, let me just clarify this. If we have a RP process, so we will not be having agents in the play, right? So we will not be including the agents. And if we have agentic automation, we will be having agents, robots, and human intervention. So just to summarize what I have just explained, so it can either be RP automation or an agentic automation. Okay. So most of you are saying agentic automation. So it's correct. It's agentic automation. So this task, it goes beyond just automation of steps, right? It involves decision making, language understanding, and then the dynamic reasoning. So yeah, it's correct. It's the agentic automation. Now moving to the next one. So your university admin wants a system that reads structured attendance log daily and flags student below 75% by sending automated warnings. So will it be a RP automation or an agentic automation? Okay. A lot of you are saying RPA. Okay. I think all of you are saying RPA. Hmm. Okay. So the correct answer is right. It's RPA. So it is a straightforward and a rule-based task, right? So bot just reads the log, check if the attendance is below 75% or not. And if it is, it sends out the message, right? So it's just a basic, simple RPA process which follow a certain step, certain defined steps. Now moving to the next one. Okay. So you are tasked with creating a tool that monitors students' feedback comments after events, detects sentiments, and categorizes complaints versus praise. So will it be an RP automation or an agentic automation? Okay. Okay. A lot of you are saying agentic automation. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the correct answer is agentic automation. So basically, this tool is dealing with unstructured text, right? Actual sentences written by students. So it needs to understand the sentiments, whether it is positive or negative, then categorizes the feedback based on the language and the tone of the student. So it is not rule based, right? It involves language comprehension and then interpretation. So RPA can't do this. We need agent in play, right? So, but agentic automation with AI models, it can analyze the tone, meaning, and categorize feedback smartly. So, right, it's a agentic automation example. Now, moving to the next one. Okay. So, your professor asked you to summarize 10 research papers and highlight the differences in their arguments. So, will it be a RP automation or an agentic automation? Okay, a lot of you are saying agentic. Okay, we have RP automation as well as answer. Okay, so the correct answer to this is agentic automation. Now, let me explain how it is an example of an agentic automation. So, this task needs deep understanding of the text, not just scanning or copying the data. You are asking the system to read the whole 10 research paper fully, understand the arguments, compare the ideas, and highlight the differences. So this requires reasoning, summarization, and contextual understanding, which only an agentic automation can do while using AI language models, right? So it's an example of agentic automation. I hope it's clear. Now, moving to the last question. Okay. Your club needs the bot that posts events update to multiple social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn at scheduled time. So will it be an RP automation or an agentic one? Okay, so all those who are saying it's an RP automation, can you just write out the reason, like simple one-line reason why it's an RP automation? Standard process, schedule time, right? Okay, rule-based. Just to update at times, it fetches and updated the data. Right. Okay, so yeah, it's a classic example of RP automation. So it's a perfect use case actually. It's simple, repetitive, and rule-based. So the bot basically logs each social media platform's login, then posts the pre-written content and follows the fixed schedule. So there is no thinking, no decision making involved. It's just a series of clicks and actions, exactly what RP excels at, right? So there are certain steps, predefined steps that the bot needs to do. It doesn't have to think or make any decision in between. So it's a classic example of RPA automation. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. I hope this gives you a clear understanding of how automation has evolved and how powerful agentic automation can be. And if you have any question, feel free to ask. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for your time and the great energy that you have showcased today. Now, I'll just stop sharing my screen, and all those who have any questions, they can just ask me.
You can use the chat box, and also that you can unmute yourself now to ask the question directly. Both the options are open. Aman, okay. 1 second. Okay.
Hello. Hi,
Yes.
Vidya. Hi, Monika.
Hey,
Uh,
hi, Ankit.
Thank you, Monika, for the session. I just have one query. So, what's the difference between agenting or automation in UiPath compared to the specialized AI thing? If you
Okay. So agentic automation, it involves the agents, right? So specialized AI, it is like when we have a Gen AI and a specialized AI. So when we combine these two, we have the agentic automation, right? So specialized AI is also that it doesn't take the action that needs to be done by its own. It needs human intervention. So it is specialized in extracting the data or taking a preset of decisions, but all the unexpected ones, they needs to be done in the agentic automation.
okay, so it is kind of like in specialized AI, we have like the a board is not the board, but the system is trained to perform actions on a specific task only, and if it identifies that, it takes action based upon its own understanding. And generative agentic is combination of specialized and generative, right?
Okay, so basically, your AI system, it is specialized. It is designed for to perform a special task, specific task, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for example, chatbots for customers or AI that reads medical scans or cancer detection, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the agentic, it is designed to operate any autonomous agents. It is capable for pursuing your goals, the reasoning, and taking the right course of action in dynamic automation environment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Monika.
Monika, we have a couple of questions in the chat box.
Okay, so we have a question from Pratham. What is the downtime of downside? Okay, what is downside of agentic automation? Okay, so Pratham, to answer your question, it comes with a number of risks, like it is unpredictable sometimes, or the loss of control. Like there can be certain scenarios where agents are not clear whether to involve humans or not. Then misaligned of objectives will be there, right? And it is hard to debug or audit. Like agentic automation systems basically act based on internal reasoning chains. Okay, so it is difficult to track back the errors or understand the failures, and the trust outcomes is also there. So okay, Aman, have a query. Can you resolve my query? Aman, have you asked your question?
No, that is about the attendance. I'm chatting with him now.
These are the criteria for aspect of it. And then agentic automation, what are those aspects and criteria? Like, okay, for RPA, repetitive, rule based, and simple. Okay, so these are the criteria for RPA, right? And then for agentic automation, what are those aspects or criteria like RPA? So there will be no criteria as such similar to the RPA process. So it's like like I have explained earlier also. So it's like a dynamic environment is involved. So whenever we see a potential in a process that that can be automated, but we are not sure like whether if we have encountered certain error at this particular time, so what the bot needs to done, what particular course of action the bot needs to done, so that to make our automation more correct, or I would say more appropriate and environment friendly, we have introduced this agentic automation that resolves the problem of getting the errors or unexpected scenarios where the bots are failing. So it's like RPA along with the intelligence is what we call agentic automation. Do we need to learn the framework or tool like AutoGPT to use agentic AI, or can we simply directly use it? So for using the agentic automation, we have like there are certain past sessions that were there where we using Gen AI autopilot feature is there, and to build the our first agent. So you can refer to those sessions, and that will give you a clear picture of how we can start with the agentic automation process. Could you help me understand the key difference between traditional? Okay, so I have one more question from Arjita. Could you help me understand the difference between what is a traditional AI? Okay. So to answer your question, Ajita, okay. So the difference that we have between the traditional AI and the UiPath's agentic AI, it is that how it basically depends on how the AI is integrated into our workflows and how much autonomous the AI has, like in executing tasks between the different processes. So basically this traditional AI, it is for solving the isolated, well-defined problems, whereas the agentic AI, It is orchestrating goal-driven tasks, and use AI and plus automation. Then as far as the integration for the workflows goes, it is usually embedded into specific steps like OCR, NLP, right? And whereas the agentic AI, it acts as an intelligent orchestrator across steps and systems. So it's basically and the one more difference that I would give you here is that this traditional AI, it basically recognize the image, chat bots, and then sentiment analysis. It is well trained to do that. Whereas the end-to-end task automation, it needs to be done with the agentic AI. I hope so. Just to summarize, I would say traditional AI, it is like a smart tool you can use during a job, right? And this agent AI, it is like a smart assistant. Like you tell that please summarize something for me, like the customer report for this week, and it handles the process across the system for you. So I think that is clear to you. Any more questions? Okay, great. It's clear. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your question. So, do we have any other question? Okay, and even if you have any more questions for me, you can just connect with me on LinkedIn and I will be happy to help you out, and we can chat more on this agentic automation. And I'll also help you out with any of your queries that is, not answered here.
Guys, feel free to ask questions. Let me know if you have any further questions, please respond yes, or else I have few things to share. I'll go ahead with the presentation. Looks like there are no further questions. I'll stop the recording now.